everybody, and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I will be discussing how the GOP can still run, or how they can still win in 2024. So also I'm going to be using Election Shuffler over here. This is a fun tool. I've seen UEP use it recently. It's essentially, it's kind of what it sounds like. I'll just go to North Dakota, and I can adjust turnout and whatnot, and then you can actually see the results. Like if I wanted to make North Dakota blue, I'm just going to go randomly do this. Let's flip that and make the turnout 100. I don't know. Or plus 100%, safe blue, whatever. And then, like, this is essentially how this thing works. And I'll be looking at what I think the GOP's easiest path to victory is. And giving it to them through this. So yeah, I'm very determined right now to make, what even is this? Is South Dakota or North Dakota? South Dakota. Okay. I'm very determined to make this blue, so I'm just gonna do that real quick while I'm talking about this. But anyways, so I do think that, actually, whatever, screw it. I just wanted to try that. I'm gonna go reset this. Reset all. Anyway, so I think that right now for the GOP to be able to win, they would need to run somebody like DeSantis. I think that DeSantis is their best bet. For the strategy, he's not good for the strategy, really. There's no one that's really good for the strategy other than, well, nobody, honestly, that I can really think of. But for them to be able to win, they would need, I think the easiest strategy is Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Now, some states we could potentially see, Michigan, Georgia, Nevada. I'll be discussing why I don't think that these are all the best options and why this one is. So obviously, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, those are givens. Nevada, it's not very elastic. It's elastic, or it's in recent years been elastic in the way that it's swung. Yes, Obama won it by like 6%, and Clinton only won it by 2.4%. But then we saw Sisolak win by, I think, like 4%. I might be wrong on that. I might be entirely off. Please tell me if I am. But we saw Catherine Cortez Masto win by like 2.4. We saw Biden win by like 2.4. We saw Jackie Rosen win by like 6%. So I don't think it really will. And I think that, yes, DeSantis has a lot of Hispanic and Latino appeal, and it could flip. I don't necessarily know that it would be enough, though, to actually flip it. I don't think he has the suburban appeal in Washoe County, for Reno suburbs or Reno in general. I think that he would do better in Las Vegas. I think it would probably be a tilt blue state, but I don't think it would be enough to actually flip it. Though it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. For Georgia, I think that we can compare Georgia and Arizona. They're very similar states, except for in one major thing, which is why I'm giving it to Arizona instead of Georgia. They both have swinging suburbs that are still red that don't like Trump conservatives, so they're gonna swing away because of that. A lot of rural vote, and they both have large minority populations. The big difference, though, is the minority group that makes up the larger portion of Arizona's population is Hispanic and Latino voters, while in Georgia, it's black voters, and black voters are easily much more, they favor they lean more heavily towards the Democratic Party. The Democrats typically win roughly 90% of the black vote, while they win roughly 2/3 of the Hispanic and Latino vote. Which is why I think it would more likely be Arizona. Michigan, it could be Michigan. I don't think that's entirely unlikely. I just think it's too blue, for a candidate like DeSantis, because he would do slightly better in Michigan or Detroit suburbs. He would probably do similarly in Detroit, maybe a little worse. But he would do worse with the white working class. So I don't really think that would be possible. Even against Harris, the white working class, they really, really hate her. And obviously a lot of them like DeSantis, but I think that the turnout from the white working class wouldn't be high enough. I can see DeSantis winning it against Kamala Harris, as The white working class really don't like her. They find her too establishmentarian. However, DeSantis is also establishmentarian, although he's Trumpist. He has a weird establishmentarian populace. It's very strange. It's kind of hard to understand. And I just think he would do worse with the white working class, though, worse than Trump. I think that Trump would probably narrowly lose it against Harris. But I think that Harris, especially if the Biden administration is successful, it would be really, really competitive. I just think that she would do well enough in Detroit, and that 2.8% swing that DeSantis would have to get would not come purely from the white working class. It could, but I think that after Trump, they didn't like, or a lot of them actually did like Trump. But I think that, I mean, like, they voted against Trump. I think that they would vote. I think that I just don't see them liking DeSantis enough. But once again, it could go right. It's 100% within the realm of possibility. And then against Harris, it would be one of the most competitive states. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, like, no other state would have. I mean, like, I guess we could do things like New Hampshire and then Nebraska's first, but we're not going to get into that. So anyways, discussing how they could flip these states. Let's start off with probably the reddest of them all. Maybe the second reddest. Wisconsin. So in Wisconsin, if we go look at 2020, that's 2016 Senate. Here, 2020. We can go look at where it swung away. This was actually predominantly in this Milwaukee and all of these urban areas. One county I do want to go look at, La Crosse County. It swung to Joe Biden. I think that for them to be able to win, they would have to lose La Crosse by a smaller margin. They would also have to flip Door County and win it by roughly 2%. Or, there, 2%. Why not? That's the wrong map. I'm actually just going to close this map because I don't use it. Anyways, so, or haven't used it recently. Actually, I did use it yesterday. So they would need to do very, very well in Door County. But, I mean, like, we can go look up here. Bayfield, Douglas, Sawyer counties. We would have to shift these, actually, no, it's Sawyer, whatever. We'd have to shift these back to the right, so I think that this is not 100% away from the realm of possibility that these shift to the right. I do want to see what happened over here. Ashland County did shift to the right. Okay, that's interesting. But then from here, they would also have to do slightly better in Milwaukee and hope for lower turnout in Milwaukee. Same thing over here in Madison. I hope to do better and have lower turnout. Now they've already won Wisconsin. Let's go help them a little bit. Let's give them a little bit of higher turnout with the white working class. This would, not 10% higher. This would likely be what they needed to be able to win. They would likely need to have higher turnout from the white working class in western Wisconsin. Now, they've already won Wisconsin. That's what it would take for them to win Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, let's go look at this over here. First off, they would need to flip back Erie County. I would say it would be a narrow victory, but they would need to flip it back. They would also need to do better in Pittsburgh. They would need to, it's more working class city. They would need to do better and hope for less turnout, and hope to do better with the white working class. From there, I think they would need to do worse in, or they need to do better in Centroy County and Centro, whatever. I'm not good at pronouncing things. And they would have to hope for less turnout. They would also need to do better around Pittsburgh. I think that Beaver County, they would need to win by roughly 20%. They would need to win a lot of these other counties by slightly larger margins. A lot of these more, or a lot of these Pittsburgh, like, I guess, surrounding counties. I don't necessarily want to call them suburbs. And then we can go over here. Now, this is what else. This is the other thing they would need. Less turnout from Philly. Less turnout, but then a stronger performance in Philly suburbs. I don't think that this performance that I'm giving them in some of these counties is very realistic. Probably more realistic. Did I even change Montgomery County? I don't really think Montgomery County should be changed. It's not really realistic. But they would need to flip Northampton County and probably win it by like 2%. Do better in Lehigh, Monroe. This is essentially what it would take for them to be able to flip Pennsylvania. Now, back to the national view, and this is this is the final state of Arizona. First off, in Yuma County, they would need to do better. I mean, like Mark Kelly, he did very, very well here. I'm trying to find it. I don't have a 2020 Senate map. Sorry about that. He barely lost it, so they would need to do very, very well there. They would also need to hope for less turnout from Pima County and less turnout from Santa Cruz County. Not that little. They would need to also get a larger margin of victory in Navajo. That's probably a little unrealistic, but whatever. And then they would need to do very, very well in Maricopa County. They would need to lose it by roughly under 1%. Actually, looks like 1.5% works. But then that is how they win it. I mean, like a little bit less turnout from Maricopa could benefit them. Or it will, yeah. And then maybe a little bit more rural turnout could help them. But that's essentially what it would take for them to be able to win an election, essentially. They would need to do better, as you can see. They would need to hope for less turnout, which is not unrealistic. I mean, like, 2024 will likely be, will likely have less turnout. But they would need less turnout, and they would need to do better. They would need to hope for less turnout in urban areas, higher turnout in rural areas, and particularly in the Rust Belt, a stronger performance with the white working class in Wisconsin and in Pennsylvania, and then better performances in urban areas in Wisconsin and the suburbs of Philly. As for Arizona, they would need to do better in the suburbs and Hispanic and Latino voters. That's why I think this is unrealistic. I think that Arizona we could see go, but I don't necessarily know that it would. I think Arizona would be incredibly close. Arizona, Michigan, and Georgia would probably be the three closest states to that election. But I think that it would be very close because DeSantis isn't very strong in the suburbs, but he does have a lot of Hispanic and Latino appeal, which is what makes him a strong candidate. I mean, like, Biden hardly won it. Yes, I think that it's going to shift to the left and likely be like a lean state. Just considering the fact that the GOP tends to run not great candidates, and that there will be a 2022 Senate seat up there, which will likely continue to shift it to the left. But just because the fact that there will be voters more open to voting blue, and that it will likely be a large margin of victory for Mark Kelly. But I think that Arizona, I mean, like, it would be close against Kamala Harris. I think it would be very, very close, as Harris is strong in the suburbs, probably stronger than Biden, and strong with Hispanic and Latino voters. Against Biden, I think would actually probably be tilt red, just because DeSantis is too good with Hispanic and Latino voters. Sorry, that was a marker. But yeah, that's basically it. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. Stay tuned for my next video tomorrow. I'll be doing a Senate update. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please comment your suggestions down below. Not certain what to film again, as usual. I have an idea for a video. I'm probably going to eventually be discussing why 2022, isn't looking great for the GOP. And this is essentially just with their, these retirements in these states, and then really, really bad Republican candidates announcing. Like, for example, I made a video about it yesterday, with Eric Greitens in Missouri, and then, I believe his name is Pat McCrory, the guy that just announced, like, today or something, who's running in North Carolina, and if they end up being the nominees, you could see these seats end up going blue, because, I mean, like, they could go blue. I'm not certain I'm ready to make a video about this until we see more, because like, Missouri and North Carolina likely won't be deciding the Senate. I think I would be more open to making it if, like, Ron Johnson were to retire, or, like, Ron Kind were to run in Wisconsin, or we were to see a really bad Republican announced in Pennsylvania, or if we were to see some really bad Democrat again announcing, or really bad Republican again announced in Georgia like David Perdue did. But yeah, I'll see you all in that video tomorrow, and yeah, bye!